Alright, continuing again with CSS, let's look at the code one more time. I made a couple little edits during this break between videos that I want to make sure that we have things exactly the same as one another. There's a couple of reasons when I previewed mine. By the way, something I haven't been doing is reminding you guys, save, save, save. Always save it, and remember you're saving it as index inside of your root folder, whatever you named it, your name underscore site. All right, look at the body again. We've got the body CSS background color. I've got it as a medium to light gray. Got the color black, which means the text color margin 0. That's why there's no gaps between the edge of the background and the browser window. So this is universal, has no ID, that pound sign or that hashtag. If you're my age, we call it a pound sign size. If you're fairly young, we call them hashtags. Then we have the wrapper, which is an ID wrapper, and it's the width is 700 pixels. And the wrapper is that container that contains everything, all the content, the header, the nav bar, main content, footer. And we've got the height to be auto because we don't know if it's 4,000 pixels, 2,000 pixels. We just say auto. That way, it will just simply wrap around the content and fit perfectly. The margins we've set to auto. That's really at the top and bottom it's 0, so at the top, and then on the right and left side it's auto, so that's making it a line center. Then looking again, here's where I made a few changes. I want to show you another change yet to make. I hope you have Dreamweaver open as you watch this video. Pause as often as you need to. The width was 660. We adjusted the width. Why? Because we added padding left and right. We added 40 pixels total of padding on the inside to give it a little bit of an indentation, a margin, so it doesn't have to be slammed up against the border. So therefore you have to subtract. The height, the same thing. We added 20 pixels on the top of padding. That was pushing the word ballooning is awesome down, which is fine, but we had to take 20 pixels of padding off the top, off the height. The color, of course, of the type here is white in this container. And I've got, I want to show you one little trick here. Notice how we have padding left, right, top, and then nothing for the bottom. We can take all of this markup right here and meld that into one. Watch this. We're just going to say padding, colon. And we're going to start with the top, and the top is 20 pixels. We put a space. We go to the right. Think of clockwise motion. The top, then to the right, to the bottom, to the left. If we go in this sequence and in this order, we can do this in one line of markup instead of 3 or 4 lines. Padding right is 20 pixels. Then padding bottom, we didn't have any. We said 0 pixels. And then padding left is 20 pixels. See that? And by doing that, we can completely delete that. I was playing with text size a little bit ago. I think I don't need that any longer. It's right. Let's get rid of that. So make sure yours looks like this. Get rid of that 200 text size or whatever if you still have that in there. So your markup should be header, width, height, background color, and just padding and color, of course, for the type. Let's do the same thing for the nav bar. Let's clean that up. And by the way, the nav bar, I changed the background to yellow. You may have done so as well, just so that blue would contrast. So what I want to do is I noticed those little vertical that are not links, but the vertical slashes that we separated these. I'm going to make those black. The only way to do that is just say color black. My links are blue. My text now is no longer white. But white doesn't show up on the yellow anyway, so I'm going to just make this black. And I'm going to put a little space in front of there just so they're all the same. And now you see those little vertical marks over here between those separators are back. They were white. See, I was just going back here trying to say white. Click over here. They look like they're gone. They just don't contrast, so you get that. Let's put black back in place. Now, let's do the same here. With the padding. Let's put it in one continuous line, one sequence, and we'll say padding. I don't have to put top, bottom, left, or anything. Just padding, and I start with the top, and the padding on the top I think was 10. The padding on the right was 20. Padding on the bottom was 0. Padding on the left. So I want to go 10, px, oops, padding right 20, padding bottom 0, and padding left 20. Clockwise, that's the key to that. If we were going to have borders, we would say border top, border right, border bottom, border left. We would go in that order as well, and we could gang those up together and save a line of code, just be a little more economical. All right, main content. By the way, let's save. We've done quite a bit, so let's say save. All right, I want to preview this, and I want you to as well. Let's kind of look at this. If there's some differences, don't get too worried about it. We can adjust these things later. So I want to go to my preview in Safari this way. You can go view somewhere in here. There's a view in the browser window. Oh, there it was. View options. You can view in the browser. Or you can just simply do live view here. You can go live and see. Just don't want you to get concerned about kind of see live view. Turn that off. I want to make sure you can still edit. Now I'm looking in Safari. Let's look in Chrome. I'm saying preview in Google. If you don't have these, you could go edit browser lists and you can add them, but that might take time. Just do whatever's simplest for you. I'm opening up Google Chrome now, and let's see, does it look like it should? It does, okay? It looks to me like this text. By the way, I've got one other thing I'm going to change with this that I haven't told you about, so I'm not going to forget that. So let me close out Chrome. I was having some gaps in between my header and my nav bar, and it's because I was giving these an H4 and H3 or whatever, kind of like we did these headings here. Let's just go ahead and take those off, and I went down into my source code wherever these were at. I just got rid of the H4 open, the H4 close, and the H2 open, the H2 close. If you see any H header tags in those elements, like see balloon ride down here, my other subheadings, those are fine. It was just these in these individual boxes by themselves. What it did is it creates a little bit of a what we call leading, a space above and below, and it created a gap between. It's not horrible, it's just I wanted them to be neat. I do want to have a little bit more padding in the top here. My links feel a little closer to the top than the bottom. They don't have to be perfectly aligned in the middle, but I sure would like them to be somewhat centralized, not horizontally but vertically. So in my nav bar, where I've got the padding at the top, which is the first one, I'm going to say 20 instead of 10. That means I've got to subtract another 10 from the height, right? Exactly. Otherwise, it's just going to get taller and taller. Ooh, is that too much? Let's see what I did. Nav bar, 10. I said 10 pixels in height, and I meant to subtract 10. It was supposed to be 40. There. Perfect. All right, I'm going to save this. Remember, Command S or Control S depends on what you've got. So I've saved this. Now, let's start and make the second page, okay? It's going to be this simple. You should have about 400 words of text. Maybe you've got a header or two, subheadings. I'm going to go grab some of my text. I'm going to copy it and put it on the clipboard, about half my text, where it says learn to fly. I'm going to grab this and all the way down to the bottom, okay? Hopefully you can do similarly. So look at this through. Make sure you're no longer in live view, okay? Turn the live view off. Go back to the editing view. I'm going to do Command X, which is to cut. Control X, cut this. So I'm going to take this text. I close this up, got to remove that paragraph break. I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to paste it into a new page. But this page is called index. Save. I want to make sure everything's saved. I'm going to say File, Save As. And we're going to let this page be a template for the next one. And this index page is, I'm going to say, more underscore about. Okay, you can call it about, you can call it page 2. You can call it whatever you want. Just don't have any capital letters or any spaces or any special characters. Make sure you are saving it in your folder. This is Jerry Johnson's site. It should be your name site. And it's just be right here where index is. It should go in the same folder, not inside images, not inside working files. And I'm going to say save. All right. Well, this tells me it's going to look exactly like the other page. And you notice I've got two pages open. They look identical. Here's the difference though. Now, since I'm on my clipboard, I've got that other text from previous I'm going to go down here and I'm on my More About page and I'm going to paste it. So now I've got this other text. Gotcha? Alright. Now I've got two pages. I can toggle back here. Here's my index page. Here's my other page. The links are the same. The only link that's not really working is More About Ballooning. Let me do that. Let's go back to index. I'm going to link to this page. Well, let me first save this. Let's say File, Save. By the way, if you have 10 pages open at one time in Dreamweaver, you can go to File, Save All. You can save them all at once, so you don't have to go one at a time to them. All right. Going back to my index page, the Home button has a link. I see it down in my property bar. It says Index. More About Ballooning just had a hashtag to hold it. So I'm going to drop down here to the property bar. I had highlighted More About Ballooning. I'm going to highlight it. Don't get any spaces to the right or the left. Come down to the property bar, and I want to browse. Okay, I'm going to browse on this folder, and I'm going to go to my More About page and link to it. Say okay. All right. Now this means that's a link, and I don't have to target it or anything. It's going to open in the same page, same window. I mean, all right. Let me save this. Let me zoom out and say File, Save. Now the other page, More About page, it's got a link on it too. I do want to go ahead. I want to say go ahead and link that to the same page as before, even though I know it's on the current page. But that way all of these are working, they're functional, every one of these links, okay? Let's try this out. I'm going to say save. I'm going to preview this. In Safari I am, and I go Home. It's that page. More About Ballooning is that page. And they're going back and forth. If I go to Troy University, does it work? Why, yes. It's opening a new window for Troy University. If I say contact me, well, what's going to happen is it's going to open, it depends on your machine, but it's going to open the default email browser. I'm clicked on contact me, and it's waiting a minute because it's opening up Outlook or Outlook Express or Entourage or whatever the email is. Well, sure enough, there's my email, Jerry Johnson, blah, blah, blah. All right, good enough. I'm going to clean up something. There's some code down at the bottom of this page, if you can see this. And sometimes you'll see that when you cut and paste. It's A with a little rooftop on it. I'll clean that up. I think that's because I copied it from a website, so that means it's got a little bit of code attached to it. So zooming back out, last little bit of information is how we save this file, okay? So you should have a page that looks like this. I encourage you, you've got two pages actually, feel free to call or email me if you have specific questions. It's easy to kind of get drifting aside a little bit, but just make it something this simple. If you want to play with background colors, by all means do it. If you want to put some images in, you want to do it. By the way, I'm going to put at least, I forgot about this, I was going to put an image in. We're not finished yet. This says Learn to Fly. How about right in front of this Learn to Fly, I'm going to insert an image. All right, we're in Dreamweaver. Excuse me. Main page. Let's go to index page. We want our largest picture to be on the main page. So I'm going to hit hard return right before we get involved in ballooning. Insert my cursor there. And then I'm going to say Insert Image. Forgot about this. Sorry about that. Insert Image, and I'm going to my Images folder inside my root folder. It's in my working files. Let me move some files around first, okay? Sorry about that. Let's get our files out of the working files folder. Oops. I'm going to my Finder or my directory. I'm going to go to Desktop, Jerry Johnson site. I'm going to take my working files, and I think whichever one was the biggest. I think that was my biggest, and those were my small ones. So I'm going to take my hot air, and I'm going to just take all three of these files. I'm going to put it in my images folder. Okay? I'm leaving that working file, balloon text, that Word document alone. So put your images in your images folder. Do that. You can pause, and then we'll get back with me. All right. Now I'm back, and I'm going to insert the image, the big image, which was 500 pixels at the very first of this document. I'm going to say Insert. See up at the top. I go to the menu bar, Insert Image. I'm going to find that image in that folder. By the way, if you're working in 2 or 3 different folders at different locations, one on a thumb drive and one on your hard drive, we could have problems. Here's my big image. I'm going to insert it. It asks for an alt tag. That is really for screen readers and people with visual challenges or whatever, and they're using some equipment. I can go ahead and just call it a balloon picture. So when someone mouses over, and if they're hearing impaired or seeing impaired or whatever, something else will come in its place. Now notice it's a gigantuan image, much bigger than I really need. Well, I'm going to scroll over here to the right. I'm going to grab this corner, and by the way, I have to hold down Shift when I do it. Hold down Shift. When you scale an image, hold down Shift. Otherwise, that image will get gigantuan or it'll get distorted. I've got a little bit of padding. I'll make that a little bit bigger. I just want to get it as nice as I can get it. I think that looks good. That looks like a picture on a main page, right? I'm going to save that. Command S, Control S, save that. I've got another picture or two. How about I put another picture in right here by Balloon Ride. I'm going to insert my second heading. You can put it anywhere in your text that you want. We're going to have to wrap the text around it in a minute, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to say Insert Image. Going to get my smallest image. I'm going to say Open. I'm going to say Small Balloon Image. Okay. And I inserted that image. Don't worry about the alignment right now. I'm going to show you one more trick. I'm going to save that. Command S, save it. Go to my next page. I'm going to insert another image. Let's say it says the Learn to Fly. I'm going to put it over here to the right eventually. So I'm going to say Learn to Fly, insert image, and it's my last image that I have. If I remember, it was a medium size, so it may be too big. I'm going to say it's a medium image. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's perfect size. Now, here's the clue. Save this, okay? If you've got problems up to this point, just back up, kind of go over it again and get it right. Get in touch with me if you've got any problems. I want to make these images align left or right and kind of let the text wrap around them. Not the big image at first, but just these. I'm on the second page. So here's the first page with 2 images, second page with 1 image. Wow, look at that stuff coming down below my footer. It's amazing, isn't it? I have to check and see what's going on there. But, all right, let me go to my CSS. And this is a new couple lines of code I want to show you, and we're going to end so things are getting complicated. Instead of the pound sign or the hashtag, put these in, okay? We're going to use a period. I'm going to say float left, okay? I'm calling this is called a classification. Since I put a period, it's an inline style. That means I can tell any object to float to the left or float to the right. And here's the actual property, float left, close. And then I'm going to do a float right, period, float right, open, and then actually that was just the name of the declaration, but now I'm going to say float property float to the right and close. One other thing, padding. Since I have an image that floats to the right, I want to have a little bit of padding on the left. So my float to the right, I'm going to say padding left. The image that's on to the right, you want a little padding on the left so the text will wrap around it and not be right up against it. I'm going to give it 10 pixels. I can always adjust it later. And for the image that floats to the left, I want there to be padding on the right. And I'll say 10 pixels. All right. And we'll that's the last of teaching you some any code here, okay? I think that's plenty to swallow in 1 week. All right. What I do now, I'm on the second page. Let me save this. So I'm saving all of this CSS here inside my document. This image right here, I could change the size of it. Here again, I don't want to do this. I don't want to see any photographs like this, okay, that you turn to me. No stretching or skewing. Always hold down Shift when you scale something. All right, so if it's this big, it's still proportionate. It's not distorted, or this big. All right, leave yourself a little room though. I'm gonna say like this size. I want this text now to wrap around, I actually want this image to move over to the right, and I want the text to wrap around to the left. And the way that I do that is I tell it to float right. So I'm clicking on the image, I'm coming down to my property bar, so watch this. And in my property bar, there's something that says class. Right now it has no classification on it. I'm going to select the two that I created. There's a float left and float right. I'm going to say float right. And look what happened. Isn't that beautiful? It floated to the right. Now quickly, going back to the other page. In fact, I could just save this. I need to. And then say this image, I'm going to leave it alone. So you make yours big, kind of like a main image, so it feels like a main page. And this image here, I inserted it kind of not right after that image, but down below a little bit. I want it to float left, so this article will continue to float around to the right side of it. The image floats to the left. So click on the image, go right back down to the property bar where it says class, and let's select that other class. The only thing that distinguishes the class is that we put a period in front of it, up here in the CSS. Oop, we didn't put it on this page. I've got to go to this page. This is the beauty of an external style sheet. I could have had the same code on both pages automatically, but I've got two pages with two different style sheets. So down at the bottom, before file, that in the same position, let me plug those in. So I've got the float left, float right. All right, hope that made sense for you. And then back down to the property, I'll refresh that. Click on this picture, not the big one, but the secondary picture here. And on the classification, I'm going to say float right. And we'll zoom out. Let's just see what's happening here. Very good. Now, one thing I see that my footer is just kind of hanging up there. I want to make sure that my main content area is set to auto and my wrapper. Let's make sure. The wrapper height is set to auto. The main content height is set to auto. Well, I will come back with a follow-up as I got that solution for you. So if yours looks something like this, so far so good, that is absolutely awesome. Save it and look at this last little video as we summarize everything. I'll figure out what's going on down here. Let me just preview it. Maybe it doesn't look like that in preview. We'll just see. Okay, it doesn't look like that in preview. The reason I think I've got this little gap right down here is probably because of the H2, something like that that's down existing. So it looks pretty good. It's going from page to page. Pretty sweet. All right, good luck, and I may have a follow-up video. Bye.